Alright, this is a topic I don't necessarily dive into very often because usually it just incites some kind of bad blood between other people and me. And most of the time people agree with me while also going around in their own way, and it's a weird double standard. Fanboyism towards consoles. Oh my god, does that piss me off. As gamers, we have so many cool options and so many exclusive things for each different type of game. We have all kinds of different genres, all kinds of different things, and then the major consoles with Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, and then we're not going to even talk about the rip-off consoles. And then we also have PCs. Now, one thing I cannot stand is console fanboyism, whether it be for Nintendo or it be for Microsoft. The fact on hating on another brand of console just because it's the other brand. What kind of bullshit is that? It's stupid. Utterly stupid. If you are doing this, kindly reconsider your aim, because it is moronic to do so. It's different if you do not agree with the practices or some of the things that are happening on a certain company. But what company doesn't do such things? There are shady pasts and shady deals happening all around us, and that should not detract from anything at all. Sure, I suppose if you looked at Microsoft and you looked at Xbox Live, for example, and you didn't think Xbox Live was a good service for you, okay, that's fine. Sometimes, when it comes to money, that's a rational idea and a rational concept as to why you don't want to pay for an Xbox. I mean, personally, if I must go into it, I own an Xbox One and a 360. I have an Xbox Live Gold subscription because it's only $50 a year. That's cheap. It's very cheap. That's like a great deal, especially because it comes with a free game every month. Half a month, actually. And sometimes they're never really AAA titles, or if they're AAA, they're very old AAA games. But it's more than enough made up for. It's my subscription. I believe that, but that's not for everybody. That's not what I'm getting into. Hating on Microsoft because you own a Sony console, whether a PS3 or the now released PS4, is something that you should really stop doing because, oh, it's the enemy? No, it's not the enemy. It's just another platform where games you might want to play are on. What is wrong with that? The reason this came up was because of someone I watch, Angry Joe, released a Last of Us Remastered review. And I watched it as it came out. He posted it on Twitter. Highly recommend. I will put that in the description below if you are interested. It's a great review. I highly recommend him. Obviously, he's one of the bigger ones. I don't even really have to tell you about him. But I will anyway. He did an excellent job going over it. But what he did mention that really stuck out to me in that review was that Xbox fanboys are hating on The Last of Us Remastered because it's a PlayStation game, calling it sucky. Now, that's also another thing where we have the hipster craze, where it's cool to hate on something that's popular. That's the same thing that happens with Call of Duty and Halo and anything that really stands up to a major point in sales. It's moronic. Just because it's on another platform doesn't make it bad. It just means you can't play it right now. And maybe it's not enough to push you over the edge. But if you see a game that you really like that's not on your platform, don't immediately go to hate it or complain that it's not on your platform. Keep an eye on it. Wait for the price to drop if that's one thing that you want to do, or wait till there are more games that'll drive you over the edge to purchase the other system. It will come down in price. It's still practically new. And let's face it, the new generation consoles right now you shouldn't be purchasing because most of them are not, there aren't many games on them. But that's a whole other issue entirely. It's just mind-boggling that someone could hate on it. Keeping an eye on it and saying you wish it was on your system or that you could purchase it readily is a whole nother animal than going out of your way to call it a terrible game or calling other platforms terrible because you pardon me, you specifically don't like it. Or perhaps you specifically don't own it, for example. Not liking it is different if you've actually had a chance to play on the system. However, you really can't go to the effort saying, I don't like an Xbox, or I don't like a PlayStation 4, by playing it, because it's just a way of playing more games. You can potentially not really like the controller, but what's wrong with the console? Nothing. Maybe the interface isn't your style. Well, you're not really... Are you buying the console for its interface? No! You're buying it for the games and the potential for good games to be released, whether exclusive or not. And when it's not exclusive, you have a choice. You can purchase it on any of your platforms, and that's fine. But when there are exclusives, they shouldn't be shot down for being exclusives. A company is making good money to keep it exclusive, otherwise they wouldn't. And that's something to be commended. They found a way to make their sales profitable. Some people take advantage of that, and it's another issue we should keep an eye out. EA being one of the major components for using titles to make more money at the expense of people, and DRM is a whole nother animal. It's lessening, thank God. But it's just, that is sickening to me. Why can't we be gamers? People who love playing video games no matter what they are. I, personally, own all 3 of the next-gen consoles. The PlayStation 4 is the one I've played the least because it's the one my father wanted in order to play sports games that come out because he's a huge fan of MLB The Show, which is handcrafted for Sony. Great! He found a reason to exclusively buy the PS4. I sneak up there. I played Wolfenstein The New Order on the PS4, but not much else because I haven't really had a chance to sit down. I will purchase The Last of Us Remastered and keep an eye on games that I want to buy in order to purchase it. But I also inherited the PlayStation 3 and brought that down and played a ton of the PlayStation 3 games we already owned. I actually managed to play The Last of Us on the PS3. Couldn't play it because of frame rate, so I actually do have to wait until I see the remastered version. So I can actually play it so the frame rate doesn't drive me nuts, but that's another thing. I have a Wii U, which I got, I think, a few months after it came out in 2012. Darksiders 2, Nintendo Land, and New Super Mario Bros. U were the games I bought with it, and Assassin's Creed 3. And it was great. I loved it. I got an Xbox One on launch, mostly because I owned my Xbox 360, and I got a major deal when it came to getting an Xbox One. It was awesome. It was a Christmas present. And it was really cool. And with all 3 of the consoles, the Wii U right now is doing the best in terms of how many games there are that are worth a damn, because it's older. It's about a year older than it is exactly a year older than the other consoles, which might be a reason to buy the Wii U first. Plus, it is the cheapest of the consoles, least powerful. However, Nintendo never focuses really too much on how powerful the system is. They've made games like Skyward Sword or Mario Galaxy look great on the Wii and stand the test of time. The resolution is the only thing that drives it down. But it's just, I own all 3, and I'm a gamer. I even have a gaming PC. And I still go for console games every now and then. Sure, I just want everybody, I guess, to be equal in thought and to commend, oh, you have a PS4 while I have an Xbox One. Instead of hating on each other, why, if you two can become friends and maybe hang out, show what you love about a console, instead of hating on the other one. Oh, well, I own a PS4, and I chose the PS4 because blah, blah, blah. And then you have your reasons. And telling them the reasons why you love a console instead of reasons why you hate another is going to stem your argument up way better in why you exclusively own one console. I own an Xbox One because the Kinect system in the interface really helps me out, and some of the games have actually managed to make them work out. I like the exclusives better on Xbox because of Halo, or I like the exclusives better because Naughty Dog is a great developer on Sony, and I love the Uncharted series, and The Last of Us was great, or I missed the Jak and Daxter and Crash Bandicoot series, whatever! All of that comes together to form the fact that we're gamers, that we're awesome. There will always be internet trolls. I won't even lie about that. We will never get rid of hate behind the screen because we are hidden behind a camera, we're hidden behind our monitor, we're not there in person to tell anything to anyone's face. We can hide it, hide our emotions, hide how we really are, and we can be someone different behind a screen, thus creates internet trolls, internet hipsters, whatever. That'll never go away. But people who have a logical frame of thinking, who are kind at heart, and want to make more friends, more people to respect you, to be a respectable person in general. It is better to talk about the positives of something than it is to sit and talk about the negatives. That's all I really wanted to talk about. Equality comes in many forms. We fought against racism, and right now people are being fucking racist against my consoles and PCs. It is something we should fight against. It's not a big issue in terms of others, I know, but it's an issue nonetheless, and it's something we as gamers can fight against. And if you ever do see someone hating on another console, make sure you don't insult them either. That's only going to cause more bad blood and more issues in the community. As community members, as gamers, we should tell them, we should point out the flaws in their argument nicely. We should state why we love our console. If they're saying, "Oh, the PS4 is so stupid," you counteract it with, "Well, I personally like the PS4. It's got this, 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 and this that really really makes it cool." And if they continue to argue without really much of a basis at that point, then you just ignore them, flag them as spam, and ignore it. It doesn't hurt you that someone else is being a douche, but you can fix how you see things. And this is not pointed at anyone in particular. Please don't take this as me insulting you. I am merely passionate about this kind of stuff, and sometimes I do rant on, and this is why I created this series. It's actually really cool. That's all I'm going to talk about for now. Next time, I believe I'm going to talk about Capcom and what they're doing with their development cycle, to talk about sequels and such, how they're lowering development cycle. I'm also going to move on to talk about Assassin's Creed Rogue, which is another title that's being developed for the last-gen consoles, and I have my opinions on that. I'm Avi of Chaotic Reunion, and I'll see you all then.